Hey guys, I want to tell you guys a story about finding family. I only want to do this because I know there is no way in hell I'm the only person who has had an experience like this, whether it has come out for the better or for the worst. Um, at the end of this video, I'll tell you how it turned out for me. But the backstory of it is my mother did not know her father. Whether it was my grandmother's fault, his fault, or whose fault, we'll never know, unfortunately. But there's a story. So the backstory to it is pretty much I grew up in North Carolina and I went to a pretty normal elementary school. I didn't go to the military school, even though my father was military. We lived off base, so I didn't go to the base or the Marine Corps base school. I remember specifically a day where we would take Spanish. And there's this one young lady in our classroom who was of either Hispanic or Latino descent who spoke Spanish as her first or second language, depending on how her household ran. I'm not sure, but she did speak fluent Spanish. And it was mind-blowing to me that a first grader could speak this language so well and so fluently with our teacher, you know? It was impressive. But for some reason, deep down inside of me, I was sitting there like, I'm supposed to be having that conversation. I'm supposed to be able to do this. I'm supposed to be able to talk to a teacher like this. Why I thought this, who knows? But I did. And I remember it being such a big deal to me that I must have gone home and said something, because not soon after, or too long after, I was at my neighbor's house who was of Hispanic or Latino descent. I'm not sure now because they moved when I was really young. But I specifically remember being sat at his dining room table and him having all these different printouts of lessons for me. And he taught me all of the animals. He taught me the alphabet. He taught me the colors. And I'm pretty sure he taught me some other stuff, but I don't remember. But for what reason I stopped, maybe it's because they moved, I don't know. But I remember my dad hyping me up like, oh, my baby's so smart. Oh, my baby can speak Spanish, you know, and here I am like, caballo, gato, perro, you know, whatever. Just young and really feeling myself at that moment. Like, wow, I can speak, you know, Spanish. But it always came so easily to me and I could never figure out why. My parents obviously knew this. I did not. Maybe they thought I was too young to understand, but they just never told me maybe why I did so well with it. And then one day, we're going to fast forward a couple of years. I'm in middle school. I come home and my mom's going through a photo album. And I was pretty good for flipping through photo albums, you know, every now and then. Just being a kid, nosy, trying to figure out what this book was. But there's this one picture that I had never seen before. And it's kind of sitting off to the side, not with the book. And I remember I pick it up and I'm like, oh, this picture looks old. You know, it's ripped, kind of. And who is this? And then she kind of like gives me this look and I'm trying to figure out, well, who is it, you know? And she goes, oh, that's my biological father. And it kind of threw me back because I'm like, that's not Grandpa. And looking back at it, there was always this small question about why my mom didn't look like her dad. But it never was something that I would have thought about or questioned as a child. Like, why don't you look like your dad? I mean, it just wasn't something that was really on my mind. So then it all kind of clicks and I'm like, but, you know, like, explain. So then she goes on to tell me that the man in the picture's name was Efrain Collazo, and he was from Puerto Rico. I'm like, okay, so he's from Puerto Rico. This is your dad. Where's he at now? I don't know. Have you ever talked to him? No. Does Grandma know where he's at? No. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't understand, because I had both of my parents from the day I was born until the day they died together. Whole different story. So I kind of just, it didn't make sense to me, even as a 13-year-old child. It just didn't make sense. So I had so many questions. And apparently, I started having questions when she started having questions about my questions. So I remember one specific day me laying across her bed and her making a phone call. She makes this phone call, and apparently she is looking for Efren Collazo in the state of New York. She reaches a young lady. Mind you, I said lady. She reaches a young lady, and the lady kind of goes off. She's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, my dad's dead. Like, what could I possibly do for you? And she's like, well, I don't really want anything. She's like, I just wanted to know my father. And the lady's like, well, my dad's dead. I can't do nothing for you. Have a nice day. And I'm pretty sure that broke her heart. And in that moment, I don't think she ever tried again. Until I got curious and old enough to look at my resources and try to put them to work. Oh, gosh. It's just heartbreaking because she really, really, really wanted to know. And I would say around February of 2013. Don't quote me on that month. I do know it was 2013 because that's when it says my ancestry account started. No, it had to be before that because I had two different accounts. One that I lost and don't remember anything or the password and stuff. Two, and I created that account way before 2013. But this official account that I use now was created in 2013. So apparently that's when I started my search. This was before the DNA test was either available or affordable for me. So I never took it, and I based everything off of a story that my grandmother told me. So I pretty much used that information and kept searching. Couldn't find jack diddly squat. For some odd reason, though, this one hint or this one document kind of stood out to me. This one record stood out to me. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I know it's you. I know it's you. I can't prove it, but I know it's you. That record didn't match my grandmother's story in regards to age. Well, really, that was it. It was just the age that was kind of throwing me off. And maybe that's why I clung to it so hard, because everything else in regards to his name and the wife's name, because he was married at the time that he and my grandmother kind of got together. That was the only thing kind of throwing it off. The wife's name matched, but I didn't know her last name and neither did she. So I couldn't verify it. And it was just unverifiable. That was the only thing that was wrong with it. So I remember looking at it like, I know it's you. I know it is. I just have to prove it. But I couldn't. So in 2014, around January, somehow I chalked up $100 and I took the test. I was at work when I got the results because I was actually working for 911 at the time. And I was at work when I got the results. And I remember I didn't know that it connected you with family as well. I just thought it gave me ancestry. And really, on regards to the ancestry part, I was just trying to verify that he was Puerto Rican, because my search within these records was going so horribly that I was like, this man wasn't Puerto Rican. Like, he's probably Dominican or Cuban or Panamanian. That man, whatever. Like, Grandma, you got your facts wrong. Something's wrong. It's not adding up. And when I got the results back, it came back to people who were of Puerto Rican descent. So that I was like, okay. So she's not sending me on this wild goose chase. Like, at least she has that part right. So I called my mom and I let her know, hey, I got my results back. This is what mine says. and it's connecting me with people, but nobody close enough for me to verify. So I'm just like, before I do this, are you sure you would like me to go down this road? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. And I start messaging people, hey, do you know Efrain Collazo?